Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up. I'm Ross Aiken, I'm your host, and here you are. Welcome to my Legion Adventure number 11, and we will be covering Action Comics 287 and a Supergirl story called Supergirl's Greatest Challenge. This comic was cover dated April 1962, which means it came out in January 1962. Cover art by Kurt Swan, penciler, George Klein inker, yay. Letterer Ira Schaff. The first story, which we're not covering, is Perry White's Manhunt for Superman, a 12-pager by editor plotter Mort Weisinger, plotter scripter unknown. Penciler Kurt Swan, yay. Inker George Klein, yay. Letterer Milton Snappin. But we're going to be covering the second story, which is a 14-page Supergirl story called Supergirl's Greatest Challenge. Like I said, it is editor plotter Mort Weisinger, plotter scripter Jerry Siegel, penciler inker Jim Mooney, letterer Milton Chapman. Features Supergirl, and the roll call for the Legion is Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, Triplicate Girl, Chameleon Boy, Brainiac 5, Sun Boy, and Bouncing Boy. We also have Streaky the Super Cat. The villains are Positive and Negative Creature, the Chameleon Man, and some robot thieves. Lois has a little thing. Wizzy, 30th century descendant of Streaky, makes their first and only appearance. So let's. I'm taking this all from the official Legion of Superheroes Index, number 1, published by Independent Comics Group in 1986. Fun. These things are neat. Okay. They're neat. I'll put a picture up of this when we finish this volume, which will be in 2 more stories. And I will go on to issue number 2. But let us give us a quick synopsis from here. The Legion of Superheroes summons Supergirl to defeat the Positive Man, a once human changed into a massive destructive force by the explosion of his home planet. As they watch from their spaceship, the Maid of Might lures the negative creature created by the same explosion toward the Positive Man, and the resulting explosion causes both to vanish. Upon returning to Earth, the Legionnaires learn that this explosion has also erased their powers. Supergirl decides to stay with them, and working behind the scenes with Wizzy, the telepathic descendant of Streaky, aka Supercat, helps the Legion deceive criminals into thinking they still possess their abilities. However, the real reason the Legionnaires are powerless is they are actually members of an alien chameleon-like race who, in the aftermath of the positive-negative explosion, imprisoned the real superheroes and took their places. Having fooled Supergirl and Wizzy, they project them into the Phantom Zone. From here, the Phantom Heroes mentally command a scientist at an android factory to construct a bogus chameleon who will infiltrate the Legion imposters and release Supergirl and Wizzy from the zone. Supergirl captures the aliens and rescues the real Legion. Again, I don't remember reading this one. I think I do. I don't, because I'm not the Supergirl fan. I was the Superboy fan, and I was a bigger fan once we get to the Tales of Legion and the Legion, when they're the main character of the story and not the guest thing. The Jim Mooney is beautiful. I think it works. I understand why there's a love for this character in this era of Supergirl. Having read sporadic versions of Supergirl over my 40-some years of comic reading, I still think the Silver Age Supergirl up through Legion during the Legion was an adventure is probably still the best. I don't know enough about her solo stuff to really make a judgment, except what I'm reading in here, I'm really enjoying. They are comics of the time. I like it. She has a little Legion Clubhouse models, makes a ting-a-ling, and then the figurines on the bookends are shaped like the Legion of Superheroes, and they're glowing. It means she has to fly to the future. I love the panel where they have her on I think this is the 4th page, page 4, where she's flying, and you see in the years passing, the years are there. She's moving at such high speed. There's a blur past her. In front of her is 2000. And she only goes to the 21st century. Ooh. This is before they'd cemented 30th century. Yeah, I don't think, we're 80 years from here, but none of this stuff that's in this comic is going to happen. but it's neat. The Legionnaires are all there. It is like a regular Legion story almost because they are in it. But I like Wizzy. I'd forgotten about Wizzy. We go to a future android factory. It's just there's some great stuff going on. We're going to trick the criminals to think you have powers, and she's blowing robots over, and Wizzy's helping, and then these yellow plant people, and the chameleon people. The aliens who take their place. I watched the Filmation cartoons, all of them. Archie, Star Trek, superhero ones, and these aliens. I can hear the voices of the aliens and the narrator of those superheroes. I'm not going to try to mimic it because it would be bad, but there's that I can hear that announcer's voice. Where one of the panels here is, though he looked like the Legionnaires, we were unable to duplicate their special powers, so we pretended the radiation fallout had made us normal. That was my bad imitation of like a B-movie announcer or, murder mystery announcer. But it's got a lot of the classic Silver Age neat stuff from Superman family and the time travel, the Phantom Zone, their pets. It's a neat little 14-page story, and I enjoyed it. I have, I think, two more of these? Let me just peek. The next ones that we're going to do is 2 Supergirls in a row. And then we're going to do, the introduction of Ultra Boy. And that's it. 2 more. And we will jump into Adventure 300 and the Tales of Legion series. But there is another one that is not in the archives, but is in this book. And I will read the synopsis next week because it follows... does it follow? No, it follows the Ultra Boy. So after the Ultra Boy, I'll read that one, which is Superman 155. And then we will move on. That will get us out of this. But we've got 3 or 4 stories in 5 Tales of Legion in this first archive. So we're still in the first archive. So there's a lot of good Legion. I'm enjoying reading it. I'm enjoying just on a random Wednesday, Tuesday, not random, I'm doing it every week, but, reading it the night before, glancing at it again today, having a cup of tea, sitting here and talk to you guys, and just giving my opinion of it. These are fun comics. I wish they were on the app, but they are collected in hardcopes, maybe the Silver Age Omnibus, I don't know which one. That's bad of me. There are some showcase out there in black and white. Some of these have been reprinted elsewhere. I would look them up, folks. Maybe I will pull a link to some archives that are out there and put that on the tweet when I post this episode later tonight. But I think if you're a Legion fan who joined the club later than say I did. As I've said, I joined the club in the Cary Bates, Dave Cockrum, and Mike Grell era. And it was cemented during, my love of them was, I think, probably first cemented during Levitt's first run as head writer, and then the 80s run, which I still, up through the first half of 5 years later, it's so good. And I agree with a lot of people that 5 years later is flawed. I think the second half is very flawed. I think it's an idea that doesn't last as many issues as they pushed it. There are good things that came from it, I think. And then it also led to the Legionnaires books, and then after 0 Hour, which not the greatest of all crossovers. I think most crossovers in hindsight aren't the greatest ideas. I enjoyed it when I read it. I think it's when I read Legion, it's an important part of the rewatch because it's where the reboot happens. I really love the reboot. And then it's canceled, and then there's the 3-boot. My point is, even though this isn't your era, what I'm reading, these early pre-Tales of the Legions of superhero stories, that jumps between Superman, Superboy, and Supergirl stories, even though this isn't your get-on point, it's still a neat point to see where this idea in the late 50s came from, where some of the beginning of, that's where that comes from. That's the first time. Isn't this a sweet story? Isn't this neat? I like Supergirl. I wish they wrote Supergirl like that today. There are some characters over the years that when they've been rebooted or someone else has written them, they haven't caught on with me. I'm not a fan of the 3 boot. I have not read it. I am now on issue 6. I am starting to kind of understand why people find this a good version. I don't think it's gonna capture me 100% because I'm kind of watching all my favorite characters' careers begin, and a lot of my favorite characters are not in it. Because I came into the book in the late 70s and 80s, through the 80s and into the 90s, I'm a huge fan of some of the newer characters. I like the second Invisible Kid. Jacques is such a great character. So amazing. Annual 1 is... I don't own any of those issues, but I bought a new copy of Annual 1 because that's how important that character is to me. I love Block. For when Block joined, I guess it's a Jim Jans era. It might have been a Ditko issue. But when he joined, even when he appeared as the bad guy, one of the bad guys in the League of Super Assassins, I loved him. I loved White Witch. I loved that group of the Levitz Giffen from what would be in, I think it's 283, which begins the little bits of the Great Darkness Saga 7. It's when Broderick's drawing the book, and then Giffen's doing the back up, and then it switches, and then it becomes 11 Giffen book. That is, man, that's my sweet spot. And I love the stuff after it. So sometimes the reboots, like Block's not in a lot of the reboots. He's in the new one, the Bendis one. Another 4 boot. You know, I thought when Johns brought it back in the Legion of Three Worlds, and they actually had the original old school Legion in it, I liked it. Levitz wrote, and it was okay. But it wasn't the same. It never grabbed me as this earlier stuff did. And then there was the New 52 Legion, which I enjoyed. But it was basically, you know, the Legion that I had, just a little tweaked. But characters that I liked were gone. And there were characters in the DNA era, DNA Copel, after the reboot. I'm a huge Element Lad fan. The original Element Lad is my rock star, Legionnaire. He's okay in the 2 boot. Don't really give a one way or another about him in the 3 boot so far. But he hasn't been in enough. I got to see if he's got that thing that Jan has. But they're making the alien members a little more alien in the 3 boot, and I like it. That Micro Boy, Colossus Boy, is a giant who shrinks. I love that. I kind of like Starboy's portrayal. I kind of like some of the costume design. So they're bits and pieces. I may end up loving it. And I like Legion Lost. And there are going to be some of you listeners that follow me. I know some of you don't like Legion Lost. I really like it. I think it's a good story. It's pretty sad, and it's pretty messed up. And it really damages a character I love. But as someone who likes a good story, I think it's earned. But I can understand where some people don't get it. But all that being said is that I think if you went back, like I'm going forward in my fandom to read stuff, you know, I'm going back now, but forward from my sweet spot of Legion toward 3 boot, and I'm trying to experience it. And I'm reading the Legion Justice, the Bendis Legion. It's okay. But again, you're recreating everything from scratch, and it's confusing to new readers, and confusing and may be upsetting to old readers. Like, not a big fan of Sook's redesign of Element Lad. I would wish they would put the character forefront so I could see if he has some of the same aspects of the original, kind of the noble leader, the sensitive member of the team, that. But he looks more like Brother Power the Geek. But I'm willing to give that a shot if it goes forward. And I'm enjoying, as light entertainment, what I've read so far. I think the Millennium thing, where you see Rose Forrest just living through 1,000 years, has been the most interesting thing. I'm digging some of the Gold Lantern. I just think there are too many new characters. And like I said, it's confusing to new readers and confusing and upsetting to older readers. There's no way to really introduce it. I mean, Legion's a long-haul book. I hate to say that. There's a lot of continuity. And what we're talking about in these episodes so far is the early days. and we're seeing the building blocks of what makes Legion great in 3 different decades. I mean, there's a great bit of Legion in the 60s. There's a great run in the 70s. There's an amazing run in the 80s, I think, and 90s with the Legionnaires. So it has a good long run. With characterization that's earned, things happen. You know the characters in and out. You get some of us voted in Legion elections. I was Element Lad all the time. He had too many deputies. I'm going to do an episode about all the Legion leaders. Maybe I'll get someone to come on and chat with me, and we'll laugh at some of this stuff. But it was fun reading that in the letters page. But check these out. I think you'll like them. I'm enjoying the hell out of them. I'm looking forward to the next one, which is another Supergirl story, Superman's Secret Courtship or Super Courtship. It sounds like it's fun. But folks, I want to give a shout out to some fun podcasts. Like always, Fantastic Comic Fan. A lot of fun. Check out Billy D on A World on Fire and All-Star Squadron podcast. Marty and their next episode, which, if I remember correctly, when I listened to the last one, that was Marty with Billy. They're going to cover issue 50, and it's going to be amazing because issue 50 of All-Star Squadron is, it's a very historic comic book if you're an All-Star fan and a Earth 2 and a JSA fan and, needed a sip of tea. You're going to like it. I know Crisis is, for old school Legion fan, a soft, not as loved. I love it. I like a lot of what happened after it. A lot I don't like. I'm one of those people that likes both sides of it, but I do get why it bugs people because I find some of the changes they made just jarring and unnecessary. But none of my characters got killed, so I'm a little, I came away unscathed. They killed some popular characters I was lucky. But it is what it is, and there's some neat stuff, and All-Star 50 reflects that. You can catch me. I did an episode, it's not up yet, of Strangers in Space, where me and the amazing J.R. Southall discuss the Man with No Name trilogy. This weekend on Runcible Report, me and Jeff will be doing our overview of season 21 of Doctor Who, and next week on Gallifrey's Most Wanted, me and Victoria will be doing the Big Finish 6th Doctor and Evelyn's story, Lanyon Moore. Excited to re-listen to that. And this weekend, instead of the 4th part of our Liberty Legion story, we're going to have a little segue, and we're going to talk about the Micronauts Restoration Project. David came on, who's putting that piece together, and chatted with me, and I'm going to share that conversation with you. And I think you're going to find it interesting, and he's going to send me some images. I'm going to get a post. If you haven't ever seen Marvel's Micronaut story comic, it was amazing. I wish I had my run. I have a reprint of the first 12 issues. Oh, my God. Michael Golden, great story. Bill Manilow writing. It's very neat. We have a nice conversation about it and how comics need to be preserved, and then we'll follow up. I might do 2 episodes this weekend and keep us up to speed with Liberty Legion, and I'm gonna need a new topic in a couple weeks. So any suggestions, please shoot me an email at stoplets.teamup. That's one word, stoplets.teamup at gmail.com. Give me suggestions of artists, creators, roll calls, members, team up books, anything. You got an issue of Marvel Team Up you want me to talk about, or DC Comics Presents? I've done a lot of Marvel in the main podcast, but just shoot me an email. So folks, until we talk again, or I talk again and you listen again, you go out there, you be smart, you be safe, and read some comics.